The Morning Market Kickoff with your host, Tommy O'Brien. Now, Tommy O'Brien.
Good morning, everybody. I'm Tommy O'Brien coming to you live from TFNN, 8:30 a.m. Monday morning. Quite the week we had last week. We've had some pretty dramatic volatility overnight. But right now, you look at the futures markets, and we're right back to almost, you could call it even, with the Dow futures, negative 35 points at 25,329. S&P futures right now, S&P futures, I should say, trading at 29.38 right now. That's up that's down 12 points, and NASDAQ futures negative by about 6 points, trading at 84.47. Some of my pause there is that you actually over on the Thinkorswim platform, that looks to be paused at, no, that's at 8:30. So maybe the CNBC futures that I was going off catching up a bit, because right now we have these futures trading down a bit more. You see 29.27. Let me just jump over as we do this to the S&Ps. Yeah, so there's your S&Ps. You back things up. We'll start off the update. Here we are. End of the day Friday. Quite an acceleration. We're looking at, I believe, a 5-minute bar. That is correct. The final 15 minutes of Friday trading, we trade in the the S&P from 28.79, and in a heartbeat, by the close of trading on Friday, 29.50. So you're talking about from a low there of 28.79 to 29.50, you're 70 S&P points, but even higher. Those gains extending right 10 minutes into the close all the way up to 29.87. You move things over, you see the run we had last night. S&P futures open right at 2,900 on the dot. We trade down 8 points. And this move, I was texting Tom early this morning, my dad telling him, man, we went from 28.92 up to 30.20. Okay, 30 to be exact, 3,019.71. You're talking about 130 S&P points from 28.90 to 3,020. That is 4.5% that we traded up. And then you trade from 3,020 at 7 a.m. down to a low of 29.04, 115 points, almost a 4% down run in the S&Ps. 30 points in the S&Ps represents 1%. And you so far have a trading range of give or take 120 S&P points as we're starting things off. Just recently, 8:15, we were up there at 29.46 in a heartbeat. We've lost 20 S&P points, trading at 29.26. Jumping over to the NASDAQ 100, quite a move that we had on Friday. You back things up. Where are we? What are we looking at? That's a 5-minute chart. You back things up to, for some reason, that's saying February 1st. Either way, this is this morning in the NASDAQ 100. You trade from 83.01 up to a high, remarkable numbers here, 86.74. That is 374 NASDAQ 100 points from 6 p.m. last night to 3:30 a.m. this morning. And then just like that, you go from 86.74 down to a low of 83.67. You're talking about 300 points from high to low there in the NASDAQ 100. Dow Jones last night, and there's the run up on Friday. For some reason, that NASDAQ 100 did not have last week's action on it. Dow 30. Friday goes from 24,752, basically close out last week at 25,732. To rephrase that, those numbers again, 24,750 to 25,732, just shy of 1,000 points for that run. And man, oh man, last night we're down in the Dow at 24,870. You trade all the way up to 26,000, about 1,200 Dow points. Then we go from 5 points shy of 26,000, so we'll call it 26,000, down to a low of 25,015, just 15 points from 25,000, almost a 1,000-point run from 3 a.m. until 7 a.m. after gaining all of that from last night. Remarkable run for sure. Other news stories out there, you got to look at that 10-year yield, quite a number. as you have, and unfortunately that news can't ignore it up there, Jack Welch, former CEO and chairman of GE, unfortunately passing away at the age of 84. That news just popping up. 10-year Treasury yield dropping to another record below 1.04%. You had the price of bonds and notes spiking overnight. To pull up those charts, the ZB and the ZN. There's your 10-year, quite the spike last night, traded up to 135.24, even at 135.08, that's up 16 ticks. So that would have been up basically a full point at that high at about 10 p.m. last night, a flight to bonds. We've even seen it on that run lower. We got up to about 135.20, so just about 4 ticks away from there at about 7 a.m. this morning with the market at its lows. 30-year bond, pretty similar action. Highs last night at 172.09. Remarkable. A full point and 4 ticks above where we're at right now. And we're up 29 ticks. So you were up more than 2 points in the bonds last night at 10 o'clock. Jumping to gold. Quite a run gold had last night. You check things out in terms of, I'm going to back it up even. Yes, this is Friday's action. We were at about 1564. You opened last night at about 1589, and gold trades right with the market from 1576. Zoom this in a bit. Gold trades up at 10 o'clock, correlating to the high yield in notes. 1607 actually makes it above that level between 5 and 6 a.m. You have gold right now. I'm going to zoom this in. Trading at 1594, backing off a bit off the highs with about 6:30 a.m. Oil catching a bid as well, jumping over to that commodity. Check out the run it had last night. Oil trading higher from 43.32, quite a low, up to almost more than $3 to 46.71. Just the mammoth moves taking place everywhere in the market. You can't overstate percentage-wise. I'm trying to talk to friends not in the market over the weekend and trying to explain the last 15 minutes of Friday and just what an epic move it was in every index. You back it up. I mean, in the S&Ps, 2878 was the low, and we almost ended the day 29.96, the high. You don't have those types of moves. And then for it to continue, and basically we do the same exact move from 6 p.m. last night when the futures open. We get above the highs we made on Friday, and we get back down and almost touch 2,900 this morning on the S&Ps. Remarkable moves, almost 4% in 15 minutes to end Friday trading, and we've done that twice already this morning. Jumping over to the VIX, on Friday action, 49.48 in the price of the VIX. We opened last night at an area, now that's 3 in the morning, so that's going to correlate to where the market was at its highs. That is not correlating to 6 p.m. last night. That has given us a print early this morning. We have a number of about the low there, 34.54, so that's when you had the Dow up maybe 400 or 500 points. And from there, 41.03, VIX back above 40. Just a remarkable move across the board in that volatility index. And as we go to break, checking in on some of the big tech stocks, the FANG stocks, that was the word I was looking for. On Friday, you saw these stocks charge higher in the final 15 minutes as well. And this morning, you actually had Microsoft, quite a day for itself on Friday, looking to open a bit in the positive, 162.25 for Microsoft. Stay tuned, folks. I'll be coming back after the break. We'll go over some of the coronavirus stories driving the market action. You got to do it with it at the top of everybody's mind. Stay tuned, folks. We'll be right back.
If you're in the CD market and looking for a secure investment, the Tiger First Mortgage Program may work for you. The security for these first mortgages are building lots in the Tax Opportunity Zone in St. Petersburg, Florida. The Tax Act of 2018 set up tax-free zones across the country where you can build and hold for 10 years and pay no tax on the profits, which makes these lots valuable. The investment is anywhere from $30,000 to $75,000. The interest paid is 7% yearly, paid on a monthly basis. According to Bankrate.com, the best rate for a 4-year CD in the country as of February 20th is 3.1%. A $50,000 investment at a normal 4-year CD rate of 3.1% would give you income of $1,550 per year or $6,200 over the 4-year period. That same $50,000 investment in the Tiger First Mortgage Program would give you $3,500 per year or $14,000 over the 4 years. Which would you prefer, $6,200 or $14,000 of interest on your investment? If you would like more information about the Tiger First Mortgage Program, you can call me at 877-518-9190. That's 877-518-9190. gold market has taken off topside in a large way in 2020. If you want to take advantage of this sector, now is the time to subscribe to my gold report. The Gold Report took profits in 4 of its equities in the gold portfolio in the first week of January for a combined profit of 99.2%, with 2 positions left in the portfolio that have a profit of 67.5% as of January 7th. The Gold Report is a comprehensive look at the metal sector as well as the markets that move gold, which is the currency and bond markets. New subscribers get a 30-day money-back guarantee, so you have nothing to lose. Every Monday morning, I publish the Gold Report with coverage of gold, silver, bonds, the XAU, HUI, GDX, as well as more than 30 different mining equities. To see for yourself the types of profitable trades that are recommended within the Gold Report, sign up now by visiting TFNN.com. Don't miss out on the next great gold trade. Sign up today.
Are China A-shares hot or not? If you trade China A-shares, now may be time to take a closer look. Trade CHAU or CHAD, Directions Daily CSI 300 China A-share Bull and Bear ETFs. China A-shares in either direction. Visit directioninvestments.com today. An investor should consider the investment objectives, risks, charges, and expenses of the Direction shares carefully before investing. The prospectus and summary prospectus contain this and other information about Direction shares. To obtain a prospectus or summary prospectus, please contact Direction shares at 866-476-7523. The prospectus or summary prospectus should be read carefully before investing. An investment in the funds is subject to risk, including the possible loss of principal. The funds are designed to be utilized only by sophisticated investors such as traders and active investors. Distributor Foreside Fund Services, LLC.
Don't forget, you can listen to TFNN live on your mobile device 24 hours per day. Go to TFNN.com, then hit Watch Tiger TV. That's TFNN.com, then hit Watch Tiger TV for the latest market information.
Welcome back, folks. We have the S&Ps negative about 16 points right now, trading 29.34. You get the NASDAQ right now negative by 14. Dow Jones negative by about 96 points. Quite the volatile evening we've been having, as I stated. Taking a look again at that S&Ps. There's your action on Friday, driving higher. We opened basically where we were at about 3:45 p.m. Eastern time on Thursday. You trade all the way up to a high. In the S&Ps, we're looking at a high of 3,021. You trade down about 120 points to a low of 29.03, and we're sitting right now 29.35. If you looked at the futures this morning, you'd say, we're down 0.5%, not ideal, but things could be worse, and they definitely could be worse, that's for sure. We're going to start over to the numbers in terms of jump over to the news stories driving some of the action. You may have seen the headlines this morning. They're kind of everywhere, right? New York City confirming the first coronavirus case. That, I believe, was a woman from Iran that had traveled. We saw the president coming out restricting Iran travel over the weekend. So New York State and city officials confirming the first coronavirus case, a woman who recently traveled to Iran, currently isolated in her home. You have the second coronavirus death reported in the U.S., unfortunately. Health officials confirming the patient, a man in his 70s, was hospitalized at Evergreen Health, a hospital in Washington State. The first coronavirus death on American soil reported Saturday, also from King County in Washington State. Those stories kind of reverberating. That pointing to some anxiety over the open last night. So things definitely could be worse. But all I encourage you to do is remember the move that we just had from that high. I've talked about it a few times, but 3,021 down to 29.03. You're talking about basically 4%. The market just traded from 3 a.m. till 7 a.m. down. We got a solid 1% plus pop, but even from 8:15, we are now down approaching about 20 S&P points. This is a 15-minute chart, and it looks like no moves, but that's because they've been so mammoth. Putting it on a 5-minute, you see the drop at about 8:15 up there at about 29.48, currently trading 29.30. Some of the other stories out there, one thing, it's the story's really getting affected, right? You have Disney, of course. They've been taking a beating with their parks, with the fact that that is obviously something. We, TFNN in Florida, we've got Disney world, of course. I imagine at some point that is already a concern. I happen to be at Busch Gardens last weekend, probably the last time that I'll be going to Busch Gardens until this quells. So you can see how that instantly having an impact. As I talked about, the FANG stocks, quite an acceleration on Friday. You had Amazon shares really trading higher, going from about the low there, 1830, closing out the day at 1883. Overnight at market highs, you got a print up there of 1934. You trade down to 1860, 1880. Microsoft, one of the strongest tech stocks on Friday, actually finishing, I believe, 1% to 2% in the positive. This morning, 160, 160. Facebook as well, finishing in the positive. You see the run higher from about 186 to over 192 on Friday, currently trading 190, 150. Amazon sold out of hand sanitizer, sold out of many of the masks. I imagine if people spending more time at home, ordering products at home, not wanting to go to the malls, not wanting to go grocery shopping, I can imagine a company like Amazon benefiting from that. Then the speculation is you start ordering those products, maybe you never had, maybe you stay hooked to that. Now, the counter side to that, as people pointing out in the den last week as well, what happens if Amazon has trouble providing those products, bringing them into the country, getting them in their warehouses? That's going to be the battle for Amazon as they try to deliver products in this type of an environment for sure. And checking in on some of the cannabis stocks, Canopy growth. Friday, closing in the green. This morning, 1865, closed at 1878. I mean, if you're a long-term investor, I imagine the biggest cannabis company in the world, potentially, I believe, doing business in Canada, multi-billion-dollar company, putting this on a longer time frame chart. We were trading in 2017 at $5. You trade up more than 10 times that multiple in October of 18 when all these cannabis stocks were making highs, 59.25. You see, we've been we've been down here since September of 2019. You're talking about a solid 6 months that you could say we're in this range, 1878. Quite the move that has had. Kronos, quite the move as well, from literally $1 in middle of 17, 25.10, currently trading 5.85. Now, Kronos, they have their own issues they're dealing with. They came out and they were going to delay their numbers. Maybe that's talking about it. Yeah, so usually when you see an earnings call, you see their numbers. I wonder if it's not on the Thinkorswim platform because they came out and said that they had to delay those numbers. There you see the acceleration lower from closing at about 615 down to 541. We're back at about 580. Constellation Brands, a huge investor in Canopy growth. The other, you could call it almost ironic part about this is that the makers of Corona beer, that whether they take a hit from just being associated with such a virus, that reverberating around the internet, as you may expect, not the name that you want, obviously, and one of their marketing campaigns having to do with, quote unquote, coming ashore soon, as they are launching, I believe, their alcoholic seltzer or some sort, or maybe a flavored seltzer, creating a whole marketing brand around it, and the slogan being coming ashore, I believe soon, coming ashore in the spring maybe, or something like that. Not the marketing slogan that you want with that going on, for sure. Other news stories out there, jumping back to what we have going on. Where are we? There we go. Goldman now seeing the Federal Reserve getting even more aggressive in the face of a coronavirus scare. We had the yield hitting, did I even cover this? 1.04%. Pretty remarkable. Here's the chart up of the yield. Right now, as of 8:48, we're sitting at 1.07%. You see it getting all the way up to about what am I looking at here? Yeah, that's 3 in the morning. That was when the market was at the highs. This is just remarkable moves. I had to question the chart that I'm seeing because I couldn't believe that at 3 in the morning, we had made it to 1.15%. For context, we're trading 1.036% in the 10-year at 10 p.m. Eastern time. Just remarkable. Now, to keep in context, markets at lows last night, early in futures trading. The yield sitting at 1.036. You have the yield traded up to 1.15%, and just as the markets have retraced, 1.044 at about 7 a.m. Mammoth moves in that in that 10-year yield overnight for sure, and that Goldman, seeing the Federal Reserve, I mean, it would make sense. That's the tie-in, right? It would make sense. The Fed has to cut. The market, seeing a 1% 10-year yield, with fears of a global slowdown intensifying, the Fed will likely announce a 50 basis point cut at its March meeting, if not sooner, Goldman saying. In all, Goldman sees the Fed cutting 100 basis points this year, which is an increase from Friday when it saw 75. So the Goldman now pricing in 2 cuts, basically, 50 basis points from their March meeting. A lot of the speculation having to do with, is there even the chance that they come in and they cut ahead of that time? Even relative to some of our new policy rate forecasts, we think the risk is on the downside, at least in terms of timing. Specifically, we see a high risk that the easing we expect over the next several weeks occurs in coordinated fashion, perhaps as early as the coming week, Goldman's chief economist said. So market looking for 50 basis points potentially in that March meeting. And guess what? It might not even wait until that March meeting. We'll see what happens. Market just dropped about 4% from the highs at 3 a.m. I imagine Jerome Powell is watching things closely.
You are or strive to be one of the best at everything you do in life. It's the most common trait that we tigers and tigresses share. If you're looking to become the best of the best when it comes to managing your money, let me teach you to do what most wealth managers tell you can't be done, which is how to time the markets. I'm Steve Rhodes, author of Mastering Probability, and for the last 12 months, Timer Digest has been tracking my newsletter signals, which have earned me the ranking as their #1 market timer in the nation for the S&P 500 for the last 12, 6, and 3 months. Timer Digest also ranks me as the #1 market timer for gold as well. The fact is, markets can be timed, and I'll teach you the exact set of tools that I use that has transformed me into one of the best at what I do. Sign up for Mastering Probability today by clicking on the newsletter tab on the homepage of TFNN.com and get immediate access to workshops where I take you step by step how to use an extraordinary set of tools, as well as provide great market calls too. Sign up today.
If you haven't checked out the newsletters page of TFNN.com, what are you waiting for? All of the TFNN newsletters are informative, up-to-date, affordable, and a must-have for every trader looking to gain a competitive informational edge in today's markets. TFNN newsletters cover every aspect of the markets to offer you the very latest in market news. Plus, new subscribers get to test drive our newsletters risk-free for 30 days. From all aspects of the markets, including stocks, bonds, metals, commodities, and tech, there's a newsletter to fit your needs exclusively from TFNN. Stay informed each day you trade and get that competitive edge that will help you stay ahead of the game. Visit our newsletters page by going to TFNN.com and click the newsletters button near the top of the page. TFNN.com, educating investors.
You know what's cool? Taking something that's good for you. Something specifically formulated to help with weight loss, better sleep, stress reduction, and the need to detox.
Nico, our hunter and gatherer ancestors found all their nutritional requirements for health in their wild environment. But today, our food sources no longer contain the vitamins, minerals, and nutrients our bodies need to stay healthy and strong.
That's why we need Primal Edge Daily Nutrition. It includes a special blend of ionic, soil-based vitamins, minerals, fatty, and amino acids in an easy-to-use liquid form.
Primal Edge is powered by highly concentrated fulvic and humic acids, nature's preferred delivery system. They have been called miracle molecules because, like sunlight, air, and water, life cannot exist without them.
That's right, Paige. They ensure we receive all the nutrition we need to be healthy and thrive. We take it every morning.
Primal Edge, formulated and approved by Nico and Paige of Living a Primal Lifestyle. Buy it today for just $89. Click on the Primal Edge banner on the front page of TFNN.com. Don't forget, you can listen to TFNN live on your mobile device 24 hours per day. Go to TFNN.com, then hit Watch Tiger TV. That's TFNN.com, then hit Watch Tiger TV for the latest market information.
Welcome back, folks. We got markets basically slightly in the red to flat. NASDAQ basically flat right now, 84.54. S&P's negative by 8 points, trading at 29.42. Dow Jones just negative by 20, trading at 25,348. You look at those S&Ps from even the lows that we made. That low, 29.03. We're up 38 S&P points right now, and we just hit 29.47. So you're up about 44 S&P points from 7 a.m. until 9 a.m. We'll see if that momentum continues into the start of the day. One of the things, if you're a long-term investor that you can take a look at, there are some real deals right now around this market. Now, Disney, they may deal with some dicey scenarios for a couple years even, maybe this year for sure. But you look at where Disney is. I've made mention of this before, all right? That is a 3-year weekly. You put this even on a daily for some context. You see the jump up in April, right? We're going to zoom things into a daily. We're now right back to the beginning of that. And the reason why I bring it up is because this is when the world found out the pricing, the structure, and what was going to be included in their Disney Plus streaming service. We found out it was going to undercut the price of Netflix. We found out that they were going to package a package deal with Hulu and ESPN Plus for basically the same price as Netflix. I believe that's $13.99 maybe for the package deal, $5 or $6.99 for just Disney Plus itself. You start the streaming service. We find out we get 10 million subscribers basically in the first week. You find out in their February earnings call that they have 26.5 million subscribers already. So this company, they are going to be crushed, for no better intensive term, if this comes to the U.S. If it does, it looks like it may, and they have to shut down their parks for any period of time. But keep your mind on a stock like Disney, as in the future of their streaming service. They just got a new CEO. That's a little skeptical as well. But same thing with Amazon. Look at that fall off. Amazon. Dave White's talked about it getting Amazon in the 1800s. So we're going to open about 1890. Even a company like Microsoft, down from those highs of 190 to 162. And even Apple. Long-term investor. This is going to be a tough year maybe for these economies, but they'll be back. Stay tuned, folks. Larry Pesavento coming up live at 9. Thanks for joining me this morning. We'll be right back.